Warmly welcoming you to How Does She Do It, the podcast, with me, your host, Jo Ferroni. Join me on my journey as I explore finding a gentle balance in both business and life, because being kind to ourselves is our superpower. In today's episode, I chat with over 40s fitness guru Cara Metz, a truly remarkable woman who's transformed her life by understanding that real health goes far beyond physical movement. Cara's journey is a powerful testament to the importance of mindset, self-compassion, and holistic wellness, and how sometimes the most significant changes can start with just 15 minutes a day. We discuss her childhood as a high-achieving dancer and how her path was not a straightforward success story, as she candidly shares the challenges she faced. We reflect upon how she uncovered a profound truth and how this moment of clarity sparked a transformative journey of understanding about nurturing your entire being, body, heart, and soul. It was to become a lifelong passion. Now, as an inspiring fitness and wellbeing instructor with an astounding following, Cara's philosophy is beautifully simple yet profound. We need to become the woman we were meant to be, not the woman that life's challenges have diminished. This mindset has allowed her to develop a powerful 15-minute-a-day principle, which also forms the foundation of her book, The Menopause Metabolism Fix. So whether you're struggling with health challenges, looking to reframe your approach to wellness, or simply need inspiration in making meaningful life changes, Cara's story offers a refreshing and empowering perspective. Cara's comment after we finished the interview was that she felt we could have chatted for hours, and I absolutely agree. And guess what? I am super delighted that she has since been in touch and offered to be a guest at my Epsom networking event. So, Wednesday the 7th of May, ladies, if you want to hear more and have the chance to ask Cara questions in real life, then book your ticket today via the link in my show notes. Enjoy the show. Today's sponsor is Seed Accounting Solutions. Tamsin Jefferson founded Seed Accounting Solutions because she saw a real disconnect between accountants and business owners. Her vision was to make accountancy and business advice practical, approachable, and acceptable to everyone. Specialising in helping small businesses, Seed Accounting are relationship builders who focus on supporting, educating, and empowering you every step of the way. The majority of clients come from referrals and word of mouth, which tells you everything about the trust that they've built over the years and the personalised approach they bring to each business they work with. From bookkeeping and tax filing to tailored business planning, they'll help you save time, reduce stress, and grow your business with confidence. And here's a tip. If you're self-employed, make sure you book a discovery call with Seed before the end of the tax year, so they can help you identify last-minute tax deductions and optimise your accounts for a smoother filing process. Simply head over to seedaccounting.solutions to get started on your business growth journey. Cara Metz, this is really cool. I was working out with you just this morning. You don't know it, but I was. And I'm really delighted to welcome you to the podcast today. Thank you for coming.
Oh my gosh, you've just landed that one on me. I didn't know that. How cool is that? That is pretty cool. Thank you. And thank you for having me today.
Sorry to just surprise you with that, but it just came to me and I thought it's really interesting how you will have so many people that are being inspired and encouraged by you, and people like myself who will be venturing into a new chapter in their lives and into trying new things in their exercise. But you don't know that necessarily, do you? Because not everyone that watches a video, does a workout with you, is going to comment or leave a review. And so I guess I'd just like to start by saying thank you. You're a true inspiration.
Oh, that is so kind of you. And it is so lovely to hear that. And it just warms my heart when I hear that women are actually doing the workouts and enjoying them. Well, not always, but they are enjoying them and getting results. For me, that is just incredible because, I always look at myself as being one of I say one of you, I'm part of the community as well that I've got, and I'm going through the same things. And for me, it is just so lovely to hear women like yourself that have done the workouts, are enjoying them. Like I said, maybe not quite enjoying all of them, but I don't enjoy all of them. But, we have to do it. There's things that we need to do ourselves to, keep us fit and able for the years to come because, we're getting older.
Definitely. Well, we're going to come on to that shortly. I love that you said, people enjoy them, but not necessarily always. And we're going to come to that later for sure, because I think that's really important. And some things that I really recognize in the way that you work are actually really worth pointing out today. So we will come on to that. But I would love to begin by just hearing from you a little bit about how you actually started out in your fitness career. And is it something that you've always done?
Well, there's a story. I can tell you the story of how it all came about. I grew up as a dancer. I always make a joke that I think I came out of the womb with high heels and jazz hands and singing and dancing. And that's what I was, that's what I did basically. My mum had a dancing school, my grandparents did, so I was just shoved in the dance class because it was, other than getting a babysitter, that's what I did. And I was 2 years old when I started. I did my first competition at 3 years old, which is crazy when I think about it. And it's a type of dance, strictly Dancing with the Stars type of dancing, depends where you're from. And I did Latin and ballroom, and I did that growing up, did it competitively, internationally. I always get really uncomfortable when I talk about this because I'm not very good at bigging myself up, but I did really well through my childhood, was the Open British champion for under 12s, under 16s, under 21. So I did all of that and, went to world championships and Europeans and all sorts. And it sounds so glamorous. I traveled the world up until about the age of 21. It was my life. I absolutely loved it until I didn't. And the reason why was because I battered my body. I strive to be skinny. I mean, so many of us, I don't know how old you are, so I'm not going to guess, but it's like myself, who I'm 50. I grew up in the age of the size 0 supermodel, 6 foot, and, they live basically on cigarettes and other stuff, and for me, it's like I was striving to be skinny. I was a dancer. So I did really stupid things to lose weight because even though I was the normal weight for a girl of my size, I'm only 5'2", I was told I was fat. And when you tell a young girl that you're fat, she's going to do stupid things. And I also left home at 16 and moved to London. I come from the South Coast, moved to London. So I was out of the eyes and ears of my parents. So I did stupid things, took laxatives, slimming pills, fad diets. I did all the things that, that you shouldn't do, which obviously now when I look back on it, I think it's horrific, the things that I used to do. And I got then completely burnt out. So by the age of 21, my passion and love for dance was just gone because I was living out of a suitcase, traveling the world, and I just got to a point where I didn't want to do it anymore because I'd had no energy. I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And I just decided I want to be normal because I didn't think I was normal. I want to get married and have children. So I just decided that I was going to quit. I was going to stop. But for my parents, they were absolutely devastated. They were devastated because they'd put everything on the line for me and my dance career. They'd remortgaged their house numerous times. My dad traveled when I lived at home. He was traveling from, I lived near Bournemouth to London 3, 4, 5 times a week, just going backwards and forwards. They did everything for me. So for me to tell them I don't want to do this anymore was devastating. So then I was like, I need to tell them I'm going to do something else. So I'm going to go into the fitness industry. I'm going to do fitness. And that's what I said to them when I quit, when I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's what I did. I went into the fitness industry. So that's how it began. That was how it all began.
Thank you so much for that. I've got a few things I want to just come back and go over.
Yeah, I know. If I could keep talking, I could just keep talking. So you need to stop me if I just
No.
keep going on.
Firstly, I'm not at all on your level. I did Latin, Latin American,
Did
ballroom
you?
and disco.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I did it all the way through until I was about 16, and obviously
Yeah.
not on a professional level at all, but I loved it. And I don't meet many people that did those styles of dance, because most people did ballet, tap, and modern.
Same.
And so I always kind of kept a bit quiet about it, actually. But honestly, these dance styles are amazing, but I cannot even imagine how much of like you say, a battering your body took, because
Yeah.
they are intense. And anyone that has watched any of those dance shows gets a little peek into that world, and it must be incredibly intense. For someone to have worked as hard as you worked, to then have essentially to burn out at such a young age must have been quite frightening.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, now when I look back on it, I understand it now. I understand why, and I understand the knowledge. But something else that I also did at that time, because I used to get acne, I was put on oxytetracycline when I was 15 before I left home. I left home at 16 to go and train in the studios in London. So I was put on the antibiotic. So then when I moved to London, what I did in my teenage think I know everything, I would then go to the doctors and say, I've lost my prescription. Could I have more? So I would then take double the antibiotics. And I did that solidly for 5 years, which is crazy. When we look at the connection between the gut microbiome and the brain and our thoughts and emotions and, depression and all things like that. I always say I'm not a doctor, so I'm just going by my own experience by telling you. But so obviously, I then must have gone through a time when I was so low, so down, so I had body dysmorphia, I felt awful, got the burnout. And I tell you what, it's only in the last couple of years I've actually realized that must have contributed to how I felt all those years ago. But it's only now, honest to God, it's only like the last year or two, I've just put the connection together. So not only was I starving myself, binging, doing all the things like that, and I did the same with slimming pills. There was those clinics that used to pop up in the 90s. I'd go in and get weighed. I was 8 stone 10. They told me I was obese. Honestly, it's crazy. So then I would do the same thing. I would tell them, oh, I've lost my prescription. Can I get more? Of course, they want more money from you. They're going to give it to you. So at 18 years old, I was taking these slimming pills I had to take at 7 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, I couldn't go to sleep at night. I was also taking laxatives that I would take the night before. And I couldn't get out of my house before 11 o'clock in the morning because of obvious reasons. And you think of all these things I was doing to myself. No wonder I lost the passion for life, for dance, for everything. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
How sad. I'm so grateful that you're sharing this with us. And just going back to what you said earlier, I'm coming up 48. So yeah, I remember those times in the 90s and the messaging that we received then. I can't even imagine what the messaging that kids are receiving now with social media involved as well. I think we've got to keep a really close eye on our young people and teenagers. But you obviously just got caught up, by virtue of what you were doing in terms of the dance and the pressure and expectations and what have you. It was going to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're being told you're fat by people who you respect at that time and being poked and prodded.
Professional.
Yeah. And I was like, it was awful. And I remember one time, and it was a competition I did at the Royal Albert Hall. And I had gone extreme on everything before that competition. I remember it so clearly. I had because I used to make my own dance dresses as well. I had the most beautiful dance, like gold. It was beautiful. So, and I was so tiny. I thought I looked fabulous. Everybody else was telling me I looked amazing, but I couldn't. I got out on that floor and I couldn't dance. I couldn't do it. I had no energy. I was just, and I remember being so deflated when I came off the floor, off the dance floor. You know, I thought I looked great, but I just couldn't, my body wouldn't do what it needed to do. But obviously now we get it, we understand it. And I mean, I do think there's still an element of this in the dance industry. I think in any industry like that. But there is so much more knowledge out there these days. And we didn't have the internet back then, obviously, and we didn't have the knowledge that we have at our fingertips right now. Although a lot of that information can get very, very, very confusing, which I hear from my ladies a lot. That's why I did actually write my book, The Menopause Metabolism Fix, which is, I've made everything as simple as possible, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we absolutely will talk about that later. And it makes so much sense to me now why you're so passionate about
So passionate about what
your
I do.
message.
So passionate.
Yeah, it makes complete and utter sense. How wonderful, actually, from what you've been through, that you can then go on to help so many others with a really clear message, and one that is holistic. It's looking at all the different areas, because it's not just about being a certain weight. It's not any of these things individually. It is that combined overall
Yeah, for
effort.
sure. And do you know what I find so much is when I speak with the women, because I'm have this brilliant community. I'm so proud of it. And I speak with the ladies, and it's called it Wonder Woman Wednesday. And every Wednesday we would celebrate somebody, and I would ask them to tell their story. Oh my goodness, some of the stories that would come out. And sometimes you get so wrapped up in your own story, you forget that other women have their stories. And every single woman I've spoken to, and I believe everyone, I'm talking about women, has a story, especially at this age. You can't have gone through life and not had anything. It's not hunky dory throughout the 48, 49, 50 plus years. So the fact that everyone has a story, maybe some of the things I've just said then will resonate with somebody, because oh my gosh, I went through that too, or had a similar experience, or they had their own experience for something completely different, maybe an illness or some, I don't know. But it's like everybody has a story. So that's why I personally love listening to everybody's, like, there's women's stories as well. So I that's something I want to say as well. Make sure you talk and communicate with everybody as well, like with a circle of women. So rather than suffering in silence for things that have gone on in the past, because we have this deep rooted evil little thing that sits on our shoulder and niggles at us and tells us, I still have deep rooted issues with food, with the way I look, with the scales, with, all these things I can put, they're firmly in a box at the moment, but every now and again it will slightly open and it comes out a little bit. But the tools that I've managed to put together, and I do for myself, I give my ladies as well, it's been able to deal with those things and to be able to just to like push them aside, lock that little box for a little while. It will come back again every now and again, but let's learn how to deal with those feelings and emotions that we have that are deep set and rooted in our past because of the way that, because of the things we've been through.
Definitely. I too think it's really important that we share our stories. And in my community, which is obviously a different community to yours, but it is still, it's female as well. It helps everyone. I think it's really valuable for a person to vocalize something they've been through just by saying it out loud, getting it out there, allowing someone else to hear it is lightening the load a little, as well as the fact that, like you said, someone could resonate with it, people could offer you support, but also it offers other people perspective. And I think, especially in this world now, we feel like we're so connected, but actually we can be quite isolated. Who do we spend the most time with? Actually, it's ourselves, and it is that inner voice, it's imposter syndrome, it's why did I do that, it's
Yeah.
it's never us kind of cheerleading ourselves, or
No, absolutely.
not unless we train ourselves and really work on our mindset, which, so it's not to say it can't be done, but that overriding thought, like you said, that deep within us,
Yeah.
is going to try and come out, isn't
Oh,
it?
but definitely, definitely. And I always say that your mindset is the most important thing to work on. I always go back to my own experiences. I always focused on the outside, always what I saw in the mirror, the aesthetics, how I looked. And I never sorted out my brain. And there was a time in my life when lots of things just kept going wrong all the time. And you're like, why does this keep happening to me? And it was only when I actually sat down, I watched The Secret, the on Netflix. I watched The Secret. It's really old, really groovy, really American. But I
Yeah.
watched it and I burst into tears. And I immediately watched it all again. And it just really switched something in me. And I was like, I'm the problem. All these things are happening because of me. It was really hard to admit that and really hard for me to understand that because, there's lots of things that go on in my, my personal life with relationships and different things. And I think a lot of it comes from growing up in the industry that I grew up in as well. And having not, how can I put it? My self-worth wasn't very good. I didn't value myself. I didn't trust my opinions. And I looked to relationships for that security and that kind of thing, really. And it was only until I actually realized, I need to sort my head out. I need to sort out what is actually going on. And I listened to a lot of podcasts. I went on YouTube, lots of YouTube videos, a lot of podcasts and lots of things like that. And that's why with what I do within my fitness community is I work on the mindset first. Because if you just go on the diet, if you just do the exercise, you might just do it for a few weeks, but it's all going to go back again. So that is something like when you're talking about your mindset. And it's like, I really believe in that. And again, I'm super passionate about it. And the reason why I'm passionate about it is because I know it's worked for me. And since it worked for me, I've then been putting it into practice with the ladies that I work with, and it's working for them too. So I get so, I get excited when I talk about it because I know it works. And I know that so many women have gone through years and years of deprivation and hating on themselves and negativity, total negativity of themselves. And I know that there's one thing I kind of say is, be the woman that we were meant to be, not what life has brought you down to, because we do get brought down by situations, by relationships, by could be family members, could be work, could be, your boss at work or whatever. It's like, all these little things, it's being like just pecked at or chipping away at your self-esteem, your self-worth, and all of those things. But the only person that can actually change that is you. And that's something that like I said, I feel very strongly about because I know I worked on myself really, really, really hard and to get to where I am right now.
I really totally get that. And the word that came into my head was, chiseling away. You're chiseling away what society and, like you say, all those experiences have almost toughened us up to protect ourselves, I think. And
For sure.
you made me think, how do we come into this world? We come into this world pure and, we have no ideas. We are just a human being. And I believe there's a really bright light shining inside all of us, actually. And you're talking about chipping away at all these things. And I think it is almost about allowing that light once more to shine, but shine outwards, not just be shining hidden within.
Absolutely. And I think you're so right when you say that because so many women stay strong for everybody else around them. Because as a woman, you are the person that holds everything together. Something I always say, like, you're the glue that holds the family together because you make sure your kids are all right, your partner's okay, and your parents, and you're the one doing all the things, and you're being spread so thinly that little nucleus in the middle you're not taking care of, which is you, but you still remain strong. We've got to start looking after ourselves a lot more, because if we don't look after ourselves, then we can't look after everybody else around us. We think we can, and we can to a certain extent, but again, it's that burnout, it's that breaking of you in because you're trying to do everything for everybody else.
Yeah. And again, I think this is what society is telling us. And this is what I speak about with how does she do it? How does she do it? She doesn't do it all. We cannot do it, even though society is saying we can do all the things. Women are amazing multitaskers. They're so strong. They can do the jobs. They can do wonderful. How lovely of society to flatter us. But we are human beings at the end of the day. And I think that we are being made to feel like we're always onto a loser because we need to be seen to be having it all together, be looking after everyone else, without, uttering any kind of glimmer of us not quite coping. And that is just not real. I don't know if you've heard of the saying, but someone said this to me when I was struggling at a point, probably about 10 years ago now, with someone that was just not being at all kind to me. And I remember being at a stage, this is very open actually of me to share this on here, but I was at a stage where I suddenly almost became so worried about what everyone thought of me that I almost didn't want to go out anymore, because it was like, oh my God, this is just too much. And I met this person, and it was almost like the most divine timing that I met this person. And I talked to her about what I was going through. And she said, it is none of your business what anyone else thinks of you. It is none of your business. And when someone is holding back, or perhaps trying that perfection thing, because you're thinking, I'm on this platform, I'm on this stage, and I need to be a certain way, and I don't want people to think of me anything other than absolutely top of my game. It's none of our business what anyone else thinks.
That.
I really, really admire the way that you work, and I have witnessed you from YouTube. Okay, so I'm getting one look at you, if you like. So that's the lens I'm looking through. I think you're absolutely incredible. You're so fit and strong, and you're a really brilliant motivator. But something that really also stands out to me is that absolute realness, which actually you mentioned about earlier. Is this something that you intentionally started doing, or is it something that has just come naturally as you have got more familiar with your audience? I love that you're not afraid to switch to a lower weight. I mean, it is very clear how strong you are. I do not want anyone to think anything but I love it when you almost grimace at times and glance at the clock as if to say, seriously? Is the timer still going?
No, honestly,
It's so real, and I love it.
I don't know. I think it's because I do all my workouts in real time, and I'm talking. I kind of have gone back to, because I taught in gyms. I did group fitness for many years. So I just basically do what I did back then. I go on my Facebook lives, and I record, I do my Facebooks, and I can see who's on, and I will talk to them. And it's like, I have a vision of them doing it there with me as well. So I'm talking, and I'm giving teaching points as I'm doing it. And I'm just doing what I did back when I was doing it in real, like in the gyms, when I was in the studios doing group fitness stuff. So I've just gone back to my roots of the old school way of training, and I think it's so important. I think it's so important say it's so important. I can't hide it. That's the thing. I can't hide the fact that I'm struggling. I can't hide the fact that it's really, I'm really working hard. And I know for myself, if I'm doing an exercise and I've got my weight and it's a little bit too heavy, I know if I continue doing this, I'm actually going to hurt myself in the wrong way. So I'll put the weight down and I'll change it. It's having a dance background, as you know and understand, technique is key to everything. So if you're doing things in the correct way, you're going to have a much better chance of improvement and changing your body than if you do a heavier weight and you're doing it, swinging your body, using momentum, and then you've got more chance of an injury, and then you're not going to be able to work out. So for me, much better to switch down to a lower weight and tell the ladies that's what I'm doing and why am I doing that. So, and they do say to me, oh, thank you so much, because it makes me realize, or makes them realize, that they are not failing by switching down. Or I do it so I will be switching up for one round, and I show how we can improve and, improve ourselves by challenging yourselves just for one set. And then maybe next time you're going to do 2 sets, or maybe next time you're going to do 2.5 sets. And that's how we start to improve. But I'm showing my journey doing it as well. And I don't think it was intentional. It's just me, and I just did it. What I've done is just what I do. I know there's a lot of people, say, on YouTube, and they don't have any audio. It's just music. But for me, that's not how I taught when I was teaching with a group, in the room with everybody. For me, technique is super, super important. Make sure your shoulders down, draw your belly in, do this, do that. And they're like, how did you know that I have my shoulders up by my ears? And I'd be like, because I felt myself doing it. So as soon as I feel myself doing it, because I can see myself in the camera, I will say it. So they're like, you must have eyes in my room. You're watching me. And I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah, I have. I've got eyes on you. But I'm just talking the whole time, and just my home environment. I've got 2 dogs. I've got 2 cats. I've got, only one daughter lives with me now, but we had my other daughter and her boyfriend here. Obviously my husband. At the moment I'm working out in my lounge because I don't have any space other than that to work out. So things happen. Dogs bark. The doorbell rings. Someone's ringing on my phone. Just things happen, and it's normal and it's real life. And I'm not going to pretend to be anything more than what I am. And that's how it is, really. That's just me. I just do what I do. And what I love is the ladies are like, oh, it feels like I'm working out with my mate in my front room. And I'm like, well, you are.
That is why it works so beautifully. And, you're not an actor who is trying to be perceived in a certain way. You are human, and that's what makes you so relatable. I want to come on to talk about your fabulous book, The Menopause Metabolism Fix. I love the very desirable promise that it comes with, offering basically a 4-week program to help women to get strong, sexy, and sane. I just wanted to get all those S's in the right place.
Yes, I've got it. I've got it here. So it's strong, sexy, and sane self in 15 minutes a day.
Yeah. So it's really achievable. It's a really lovely goal for people to work towards as well. So talk to me, 15 minutes a day. Is that because you're a human being and you know that other human beings are short for time as well?
And this is another thing I just feel very, very passionate about, because that's what I do. And I've done it for years. And it came about because purely by accident, 15, 16 years ago, my marriage broke down and I was on my own, and I couldn't be in the fitness industry anymore because I needed to be at home looking after the kids. I couldn't go and work in a gym because it's all unsociable hours. I also did personal training, and back then I was a terrible businesswoman. And if someone cancelled, I wouldn't ask for the money. And when you got bills to pay, and I just was like, I can't do this anymore. So I set up my own a business that I could do at home. And that was as a dance dressmaker, because I made my own outfits when I was competing. So I actually started this dance dress business, and it was really successful. I did it for 10 years or more than that, actually. And that was great, but it wasn't my passion because of my personal situation. I didn't have the money to go to a gym. I didn't have the time to go to a gym. And I wasn't exercising, but I started to put weight on. I started to have a black cloud come over my head, and I just wasn't happy. And I knew that exercise was my savior. So I was like, well, I don't have time. But then I thought, well, you've got 20 minutes. So you drop the kids to school, walk the dogs, then you've got 20 minutes, and then you start work. So I was like, well, okay, if I do 15 minutes, I've got 5 minutes to get changed. I taught so many different genres of exercise when I was teaching. I was like, okay, I need to keep it simple because my brain needs simple. I would choose 5 exercises. And at the time, it was around HIIT was becoming popular. And you could do 30 seconds of an exercise, 30 seconds break, 30 seconds of an exercise. And I was like, I don't have time to wait around for 30 seconds. So, let's be a bit more economical with my time. I'll do 50 seconds because for me to count reps, I would lose count.
Yep.
So I would time myself, and I had this little timer that I had, and I set it 50 seconds. I chose 5 exercises, did that, and repeated those 5 exercises 3 times, 15 minutes, job done, off you go to work. So that's what I did. And I made a promise to myself that I was going to do that every single morning religiously when the kids were going to school. And weight came off, black cloud lifted, everything was great. That was until I hit my mid-40s. So that's when things had to change. But that's how my 15-minute thing worked.
Yeah.
And it really worked until I said, I was 46, started getting menopause symptoms, didn't realize that's what it was, thought I had early onset dementia, thought my house was haunted because I put things down and obviously a ghost had moved them because I couldn't find anything, and lost my car on numerous occasions. I couldn't remember people's names. I wasn't sleeping, black cloud, all the things, that we hear about now with menopause. And spoke to my best friend and she was like, oh, you're menopausal. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm fit. I'm healthy. That's not going to happen to me. And then obviously got my head out of the sand and decided I was going to study and look into this. And I did. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm actually menopausal or perimenopausal. I didn't even know there was such a thing at the time as perimenopause. That's
me too.
Yeah. I was like, what is perimenopause? Anyway, I didn't even know how to spell it. It's like, so I looked into it and then I realized that's actually what was going on with myself. Changed the way I exercised, changed the way I ate, prioritized my sleep, looked at my stress levels. Obviously, most of the time you can't get rid of stress in your life, but you can learn how to deal with it better. So those are the 4 pillars that I work with now: nutrition, movement, stress, and sleep. And the same thing happened. The weight came off, black cloud lifted, all the things to feel better, about myself. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a lot better than it would have been if I hadn't have done all these things. So that's where the 15 minutes comes from and why I'm so passionate about it. However, people will say to me, so what else do you do? I walk my dogs. That's it. No, what else do you do? No, I just do 15 minutes. But surely that's not enough. I tell you why it's enough is because I do it consistently. Every single weekday, I do it without fail. My head needs to be falling off for me not to do it. If I'm ill, I won't do it. But if I'm not up for doing something really heavy and strong, I'll do a Pilates workout because I'm trained to do that. Or I'll do more of a stretch program or something like that. So I will do something every single weekday. I don't do anything at the weekend, but every single weekday. If I said to the women, right, we're going to do this plan. We're going to do an hour every day and we're going to do that. And then you're going to do that for 3 months. By week 3, they'll be like, can't do this anymore. I've got to go and see my parents. My dad's had a bit of a turn. I've got to go and sort him out. Or my daughter needs me and needs me to take her to uni to go and see a uni whatever, or I've just had a row with my partner or my boss. And it's like something will happen and you'll be like, either you're too tired, you can't be bothered, you can't find the time. It's not going to happen with all the will in the world. But you can find 15 minutes every single weekday, or I say weekday, but weekend, depends what works for you. You can find 15 minutes. And I know it works because I've done that. The other thing I do say to the ladies, don't expect you to drop 10 pounds in a week with me. That's not going to happen. But if you want to have a lifestyle that you enjoy, is sustainable, you're going to feel so much better about yourself. Your mindset is going to be in a much better place. Your nutrition is going to be so much better, but it's not going to be difficult. I'm not going to make you deprive yourself. We're not going to count calories. You're not going to get on the scales. You're only going to do 15 minutes a day. If you do all these things, yes, everything will happen, but might take a little bit more time than if you just went on a silly fad diet. Once you stop that fad diet, the weight's going to come back on again. We've all been there, myself included. If you want to do that, that's fine, but I'm not the person for you. But if you want to feel better and be more full of life and joy and energy and look better in the mirror, I'm the person for you. But don't keep getting on those scales and telling me I'm not losing weight, because your body composition will be changing. So the scales mean nothing. And I can tell you another story about the scales in a minute if you just keep talking.
Wow. Well, you've answered my next question as well, which is brilliant. And I absolutely love that. There is such a power in consistency. And the wonderful thing is that you are here telling us, quite rightly, that 15 minutes a day can really, really help us in all the ways. And there aren't many people that would say that that's not achievable, because we can all find, even if we can't find 15 minutes, maybe the busiest person in the world, if they can find 5 minutes but still do it consistently, it's going to take a bit longer, but they're making that commitment to themselves. And by making that commitment to yourself, it is going to work, because, you are the most important person to look after. Like, going back to what we said, we are the glue. How wonderful that we can be working towards our bodies and our future bodies, importantly, and know that we are going to not only be stronger and have a better mindset, but we're going to prove to ourselves that we can do this.
Absolutely. No, for sure. And like you've just said as well, when you were just at the beginning of what you were saying there about the 5 minutes, that's why I have 5-minute and 10-minute workouts on my app as well. Because if you can't find the 15 minutes, but you can find 5 minutes. But the beauty of doing that is you'll do 5 minutes, you'll be like, maybe I could do a few more minutes. I could do a little bit more, So it's just those, I call it habit stacking. You start small. I think I've still got them on there. 1 minute exercise on there. I've got it in I call it steady zone, and it's like 1 minute walking. Get your steps in. If you don't get your steps in throughout the day, I've got the 1 minute, 5 minute, these walking little videos, and it's me being a bit silly, having a bit of fun. Just when I was doing these things in my back room in my old house, and it's actually, and I would put on my watch and I would see how many steps I would get done in those 5 minutes. And then I did a 15-minute one and I got over 2,000 steps done in 15 minutes, and it's like, how hard sometimes is it to get your steps in through the day, because you might be sat at a desk all day.
Yeah, it's about making it really accessible for people and letting them know, even with a tiny amount of time, look, you can achieve that amount of steps. And also, I think with your 1 minute things as well, you're always going to want to do more, because the endorphins are kicking in even after just moving your body for a minute, actually. And you want more of that. You want to feel like you're living, breathing body is living and breathing. And yeah, I think it's just so, so powerful. And
Yeah,
I
what the
know.
more of it is, it's about that mindset thing. Is you put yourself in the mindset to just do that minute, and that's amazing. Celebrate that. And I always say, you make your small goals, you celebrate them, and that is what I'll always say to you. You make your small goals, and you make them non-negotiable. Come hell or high water, you're going to do them, and then you tick it off, you celebrate it, and then you move on to the next one.
I know that there will be people listening who perhaps are feeling that they are really time poor, and maybe that they haven't exercised for a while, and actually they'll look at you online, and they will possibly make an assumption and think, oh, it's all right for her. But then they hear this conversation, Cara, and they hear that actually you've had some struggles along the way. You know, you didn't exercise for a while because of life circumstances. And then even when you got that back on track, you had another blow because perimenopause decided to kick in and
Yeah.
give you some more challenges. But what you've shared with us today, which I think is just beautiful and so, so inspiring, is that there is a way around and through all that we come up against. And that is going to give people hope that needed to hear it today. I have some more questions before we round up and I actually let you get back to the rest of your day today.
Okay.
What is the toughest thing for you about working for yourself?
My brain is very chaotic. And I have lots and lots and lots of ideas, and my organization skills are not necessarily the best. So for me, that's what I would say. And that's something I really try to work hard on. My daughter now works with me, and I drive her absolutely crazy. So yeah, she's, I drive her mad with it. But for me, is my organization.
Well, the thing is, you didn't go into your career thinking, I know what I want to do. I want to be organizing loads of stuff. You
Yeah.
wanted to work on fitness and helping
Exactly,
people.
exactly. And I think also it's the work-life balance. I mean, really, when I think about it, it's the work-life balance, which is the thing that I really struggle with. And again, that comes down to organization as well, because if I organize myself better, I probably would have a better work-life balance. Or maybe not, because I'll just keep working. I don't know.
Yeah, I think sometimes it can be a little bit of a lose-lose,
I
actually.
know.
So I love that you've got your daughter involved, though. But I wish her luck if she's struggling to keep you organised.
Yes, you're like that.
So, what is the best thing? Can you narrow it down to one thing?
I can do what I am passionate about. The fact that my passion is my work, absolutely. And the fact that I can work with women that I absolutely adore, and I feel like I am helping women, and they're helping me as well. You know, it's a win. It's a just total win-win situation for me, because like I've said, I'm at this time in my life. You know, they inspire me as much as I hopefully inspire them. So for me, it's doing what I'm so passionate about.
There aren't a lot of people that can work their passion. I felt you as you said that. I could feel the positive energy literally emanating from you, and it's really, really wonderful to witness. So the last question that I ask at the end of every episode is around the name of my business. How does she do it? Because as I've already said today, I don't believe that she does do it all. And so I wonder if and I think I might be able to guess what one of your answers might be, but is there one thing that you absolutely do, or perhaps something that you have decided not to do in your life anymore to ensure that you do stay on track and healthy and happy?
The thing that I do for me is every single morning I do the things that I need to do. And the way I look at it is I create my force field around me. There's certain things I do that are non-negotiable: my exercise, my stretch, my meditation, having a good breakfast. I have my shower, and I call it an affirmation shower or a clarification shower. I take that moment to get my head straight. I have my best ideas in the shower as well, but it's doing the things in the morning to create a force field around me so that if things are thrown at me in the day, which they're always going to be, I'm able to cope with them a lot better. And if I don't do those things, I feel I'm not able to cope so well. So that's what I do. What I don't do, oh my gosh. I tell you what I don't do, and it's very important, is I don't eat. I try not to eat past 8 p.m. And I'll tell you why. If I eat past 8 p.m., and I would say for a lot of women particularly, if they eat in the evening, it's normally things that aren't necessary, will serve them well. I will then wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and then I have a really bad night's sleep. So for me, I try to, if I go into my kitchen and I am like, I want something to eat, I have this conversation with myself. What is more important, having this or getting my sleep? And for me, 9 times out of 10, getting my sleep wins. And I know the times when I've drunk alcohol in the evenings or I've had something to eat, my sleep will get disturbed. And the reason being is your blood sugar spikes, it then crashes, your cortisol and adrenaline gets released into the body. I wake up, I feel tired. I'm wired, but I'm super tired. My brain starts, because my brain is very chaotic, my brain will start and I cannot get back to sleep. So for me, that is something that I don't do now. 9 times out of 10 is eat past 8 p.m. at night.
I love that. Thank you for sharing it. And I do think that there is going to be someone out there that hears you say that and goes, oh my God, maybe this could be a way I could look to work on sorting out my sleep, especially if they're perimenopausal. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I loved what you said about what you do as well. And I'm very, very similar. I probably don't work out quite as well as you do, but it's about the good nutrition in the morning. It's about meditation. It's about affirmations. And really, we are giving ourselves the strongest start we could possibly give ourselves ahead of the day. That's kindness to yourself, isn't it?
For sure.
Well, I don't doubt people are going to want to look up to see where they can find you, if they don't already know you, of course. Where can they find you online, Cara?
So my Instagram handle is Cara Metz _. So it's CARAMETZ _. That's my Instagram. I am on Facebook as well. Just look up Cara Fitness. And you've got my website, which is carafitness.co.uk. Once you look at that, you can then obviously download the app, the Cara Fitness app. And I've also got my book, which you can get on Amazon, which is the Menopause Metabolism Fix.
Fabulous. I will link to all of those down below in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
All that is left to say is it's just been the most gorgeous time with you today. And I'm so, so grateful for all that you've shared. I've absolutely adored our conversation. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, I'd love you to take a moment to share and subscribe too. Come and join me over at How Does She Do It Life on both Facebook and Instagram. And until we speak again, I wish you a wonderful week ahead.